Welcome to Millersville University's Office of Learning Services presentation on skillful writing. By the end of this workshop, you should be able to understand how to write for a purpose, know the steps to writing substantively, understand non-substantive writing, and also impressionistic writing. We will also then discuss writing reflectively, using writing as an exercise for the mind, writing sentences, questioning as you write. We will also look at an example of how to paraphrase. And lastly, we will discuss clarification strategies. Let's get started. First, pause this video and watch the video from Neil Rolfe located at this link as an introduction to critical writing. The sound does not work on this recording, so please visit the link now. So why do we write? What purposes do we have while writing? People write for pleasure, to express a simple thought or idea, to convince the reader to accept an important position or argument, to challenge the reader to consider a new worldview, and to express what we are learning or have learned in a subject. All of these purposes are ones you may have to focus on throughout your college career. Your purpose may depend on an assignment for class or if you are involved in writing as an extracurricular activity. Today we are going to discuss 3 different writing types: substantive, non-substantive, and impressionistic writing. First, let's go over substantive writing, which can be referred to as purposeful writing. This is writing that has a purpose, direction, substance, is logical, and contains valuable or important information. It enables you to take ownership of what you are writing about. This would most likely be the type of writing you will be using the most throughout your time in school. You should always want your writing to have a purpose and hold valuable information to answer whatever questions you are trying to answer. The following steps are steps to writing substantively. First, find a subject worth writing about. If you are given the opportunity to pick your own topic for a paper, make sure to find one that will hold your interest the most. This will help you to become more interested in the details that you are finding, which will create an overall better and more understandable paper. Next, discover something significant to say about your subject. This will help drive your paper and give you something to build off of and provide more detail. Lastly, make sure you are expressing yourself clearly and precisely. To write the best paper, you should be thinking clearly and in turn writing clearly and precisely. This will also allow the reader of your writing to remain interested and willing to read the rest of it. Although you want to provide more detail, it should be details that relate to the topic the most. An example of how to write substantively is if you were to explain to your friends an idea of a topic that they have little knowledge of. You would want to make sure that you are sharing the most important points and providing details that are clear and precise so that your friend will get the gist of the topic you are discussing. Try practicing this the next time you get the chance with a friend. The next type of writing is non-substantive writing. This type of writing is rhetorically based, which means that you use rhetorical devices such as alliterations. If you have taken the newer version of the SAT, you may have been asked to write about there is always and always, or there is never and never. This would be an example of when you would have had to write non-substantive writing. This means that there is no issue to be reasoned through, which encourages the writer to use rhetorical and stylistic devices rather than reasoning using intellectual good sense. You are basically being asked to make something out of nothing due to there not being an exact direction to follow within the topic. The last type of writing is impressionistic writing, which is one you want to avoid as much as possible. Within this style of writing, you are likely to wander from paragraph to paragraph and draw no clear distinctions. You are writing from moment to moment. This is not how you should be writing college-level papers. As a student, you want to make sure your writing is clear and supported. This type of writing is also fragmented with incomplete sentences or thoughts. It also is uncritical and has no justification in comparison to competing points of view. This means that there is little support and it would be hard to follow because there is no real purpose and the writing is just broken. Moving on, we are now going to talk about writing reflectively. The reflective mind seeks meaning within their work and monitors what you are writing to ensure that there is a clear direction and that you're not all over the place. You should draw a clear distinction between its thinking and the thinking of its audience, meaning that you should always keep your audience in mind while writing to make your writing most understandable to them. Next, the reflective mind is purposeful and adjusts what you are writing to tailor to specific goals. You always want to remember to write with a purpose based off whatever reason you need to be writing for and keeping your audience in mind. The reflective mind also interrelates ideas in its writing with ideas that already commands. If you relate personal experience or prior knowledge back to what you are writing about, that takes your writing to the next level. To be reflective means that you are also critical of your writing and assess what you are writing constantly. You need to check yourself to make sure you are staying on topic and writing what makes sense to you and what won't make sense to your audience. Lastly, the reflective mind is open to new ways of thinking. You will not always be able to write about topics you agree with, so being open to new opinions and ways of thinking is important in your success. To be reflective, there are a few questions you can ask yourself. First, have you stated your main point clearly? Have you explained your main point adequately? Have you given your readers examples from your own experiences that connect important ideas to their experiences? Have I included metaphors or analogies that illustrate for the reader what I'm saying? All of these questions will help you to be more reflective while writing so that you can write the best paper possible. So when we talk about writing, we must mention second order thinking, which is how to think about your thinking while you are thinking from outside your thinking. Complex, but simply put, you are thinking about how every part of your writing connects to each other to help you reason further and improve the decisions you make while writing. To understand this further, we are going to discuss the 8 basic structures to all thinking on the next slides. Like writing, thinking has a purpose, goal, or objective. This is pretty self-explanatory, but when you're thinking, you will always have a reason for it. Next, thinking raises questions about problems or concepts. This helps you to want to get questions answered and further your knowledge. Thinking also uses information like data, facts, observations, and experiences to form your own thoughts or opinions on matters. During thinking, you utilize concepts like theories, definitions, laws, and principles to help you form ideas that are accurate. Thinking also allows you to make inferences, which helps you to make decisions. It also helps you to make assumptions about topics or other aspects of life that you suppose or assume beforehand. This one may be more harmful to you in the long run because it could make understanding new points of view harder and it could add bias to your writing. Thinking also generates implications which also helps you to make decisions, especially ones that will affect you in the future. Lastly, thinking embodies a point of view. Everyone has their own perspectives in life, and those are all based on their thinking and what they have been exposed to. Here is a chart of the 8 basic structures of thinking that you can refer to whenever you need to. We are now going to talk about some more strategies and questions to ask yourself while you're writing. Ask yourself when writing sentences, how does this sentence connect with other sentences in the paragraph? Also ask, how does this sentence relate to organizing the idea of this text as a whole? To approach writing actively, the following are some examples of questions to ask yourself while writing. Why am I writing this? What is my purpose? What do I want the reader to come away with? These questions will help you to remain organized and on topic while writing. Also, question if something is written vaguely, how can you make it more clear and more precise? Lastly, ask if you understand the meaning of the words you have used. These questions will help you make sure the audience can fully understand your writing and you can understand your writing. Let's practice a little paraphrasing so that you're using all your thinking and writing strategies to interpret information into your own words. The next 2 slides show an example of how you can paraphrase in your reading. First, we'll start with the quote that we are going to paraphrase. He who passively accepts evil is as much involved in it as he who helps to perpetrate it. That's by Martin Luther King Jr. So take a second, pause the video, and try and come up with your best paraphrase for this quote. Welcome back. So here's the paraphrase that we came up with. Check it with yours to see if it's similar. People who see unethical things being done to others but who fail to intervene when they are able to intervene are as unethical as those who are causing harm in the first place. So we took what the quote said and put it into our own words but kept the meaning. And that is what paraphrasing is. Try practicing this anytime that you are writing. To make your writing clearer, ask yourself the following questions. Could you state your basic point in one simple sentence? Could you elaborate your basic point more fully in other words? Could you give an example of your point from your experience? Lastly, could you give me an analogy or metaphor to help me see what you mean? Remember to always be thinking about the audience you are writing for to check if your writing is clear and supported or not. So to summarize what we have discussed throughout this workshop, we talked about how skillful writing is a highly selective intellectual activity. It requires you to choose a subject or idea of importance, decide on something important to say about it, explain or elaborate your basic meaning, construct examples that will help your readers connect to what you are saying and to events and experiences in their lives. And lastly, to construct one or more analogies and or metaphors that will help readers connect to what you are writing about with something in their lives. So that wraps up our workshop. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation on skillful writing. Please be sure to check out our other presentations that are offered by the Office of Learning Services. And feel free to contact our office with any additional questions you may have. And be sure to check out the Writing Center on campus if you need any additional assistance in your writing. Thank you.